Hello, this is Anviti. Welcome to the news with NDTV. It's Thursday, May 15th, and coming up in today's episode, Rajnath Singh suggests foreign intervention against Pakistan, nuclear power during Kashmir visit. Tamil Nadu slams centre as President seeks Supreme Court clarification on Governor's powers verdict. Supreme Court rebukes Minister Vijay Shah over remarks on Army officer Colonel Sofiya Qureshi and Vladimir Putin to skip peace talks in Istanbul, despite Ukraine's challenge. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited Kashmir Valley today, his first trip since India launched Operation Sindoor, a large-scale military strike targeting terror infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The operation was carried out in response to the April 22nd terror attack in Pahalgam, which killed 26. Meanwhile, security forces killed 3 terrorists today in Avantipura, South Kashmir. The gunfight broke out in the Nadir and Tral area after joint police-army operation. The terrorists were found in a residential building. 2 days earlier, another operation in Sofia led to the killing of 3 terrorists. The army reported that encounter began in Pahalgam and continued into the Sofia forest based on specific intelligence. Coming back to the defence minister during his visit, Mr. Singh assessed the security situation and the operational preparedness of the Indian armed forces. He also inspected remnants of Pakistani shells fired at the border areas and met with troops at the Army's 15 Corps headquarters in Srinagar. He was accompanied by Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. Speaking to the personnel, Mr. Singh paid tribute to the soldiers and civilians who lost their lives in Pahalgam. He said, and I quote, "I bow to the supreme sacrifice of the brave Jawans. I also pay respect to the innocent civilians who were killed," unquote. He added that Operation Sindoor marked a significant shift in India's response to terrorism, adding that we will go to any extent to end terrorism. Pakistan has to stop sheltering terrorists. He further questioned the safety of Pakistan's nuclear arsenal, calling on the International Atomic Energy Agency to oversee its handling. Quote, "From the land of Srinagar, I want to raise the question whether nuclear weapons are safe in the hands of such an irresponsible and rogue nation," he inquired. Earlier this week, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the Adampur Air Force Station in Punjab, which was reportedly targeted by Pakistan following Operation Sindoor. Pakistan claimed that they had destroyed India's S-400 air defense system, an assertion denied by Indian authorities. And speaking at the airbase, then the Prime Minister issued a strong warning to Pakistan and claimed if there is another attack, India will respond. And he said that Operation Sindoor represents a new doctrine of decisive action against state-sponsored terror. According to the Indian government, the overnight operation involved 24 missile strikes in just 25 minutes across 9 sites, eliminating around 100 terrorists. Tamil Nadu is not happy with the president's letter to the Supreme Court over a case which favoured the DMK government. President Draupadi Murmu has written to the Supreme Court seeking clarity on its ruling that effectively sets deadlines for the president and state governors to act on bills passed by state legislatures. The letter, sent under Article 143 of the Constitution, requests the court's opinion on whether such timelines can be judicially imposed and whether the discretion exercised by governors is subject to court review. The president asked the court if a governor is bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers when presented with a bill under Article 200 of the Constitution. She further questioned whether, in the absence of an explicit constitutional timeline, the judiciary can prescribe deadlines for the president's actions under Article 201. She also raised concerns over the scope of Article 361, which protects the president and governors from being answerable to courts for exercising their official duties. The letter follows a Supreme Court verdict in April, which addressed a petition filed by the Tamil Nadu government, led by the DMK. The court had ruled that Governor R.N. Ravi's prolonged inaction on 10 state bills was illegal and arbitrary. The bench set a 3-month deadline for the president or governor to act on bills repassed by the legislature. Reacting strongly to the president's reference, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin issued a statement condemning what he described as an attempt to undermine a settled constitutional matter. Quote, "This is nothing but a desperate attempt to weaken democratically elected state government by placing them under the control of governors serving as agents of the union government," Mr. Stalin said. He posed 3 questions to the center, and these are the exact quotes. Why should there be any objection to prescribing time limits for governors to act? Is the BJP seeking to legitimize indefinite delays? Does the union government intend to paralyze opposition-led state legislatures? Unquote. The chief minister then called on all non-BJP states and leaders to unite in what he termed a legal struggle to defend the constitution. Quote, "Tamil Nadu will fight and Tamil Nadu will win," he added. The April judgment had emphasized that the union executive should not decide on the legality of bills and should instead refer to such matters to the Supreme Court. The court also acknowledged that any advisory nature of Article 143 while maintaining that constitutional principles will apply. The Supreme Court is now expected to decide whether to revisit the matter with a larger constitutional bench. The Supreme Court on Wednesday strongly criticized Madhya Pradesh Minister Vijay Shah for his controversial remarks directed at Indian Army officer, indirectly, Colonel Sofiya Qureshi. Chief Justice of India, who was sworn in just 2 days ago, B.R. Gavai, called the minister's comments unacceptable and insensitive and reminded him that those in constitutional positions must exercise caution in their speech. Quote, "What sort of comments are you making? You should show some sense of sensibility," the Chief Justice told Mr. Shah during the hearing. The bench directed the minister to apologize before the High Court. The court refused to stay the Madhya Pradesh High Court's directive to register a First Information Report or FIR and begin criminal proceedings. It declined Mr. Shah's request for interim protection from arrest, saying, "Nothing will happen to you in a day, you know who you are." The Supreme Court will hear the matter again on Friday, which is tomorrow. Mr. Shah, the state's tribal welfare minister, made the remarks during a speech on May 12th in Raikunda village, Indore. Without naming Colonel Qureshi directly, his statements refer to her involvement in the national briefings on Operation Sindoor, which following the terror attack in Pahalgam that killed 26. In his address, the minister said, and I'm quoting, "They, terrorists, made our sisters widow. So Modi ji sent a sister of their community, they being terrorists, to strip them and teach them a lesson," unquote. He also added, "We responded by sending their own sister to hit them in their own homes." This speech was widely condemned for its communal and gendered overtones. Even though he did not name Colonel Qureshi, it was being implied that he was calling Colonel Qureshi sisters of a terrorist due to her religious and gender identity. The Madhya Pradesh High Court in Jabalpur took suo motu cognizance of the case and ordered the state's Director General of Police or DGP to file an FIR by the end of the day. This happened yesterday. The court warned that non-compliance would result in contempt action. It stated that Mr. Shah's words could threaten communal harmony and tarnish the image of the armed forces, which it described as the last institution in this country to reflect integrity and discipline. This is not the first time Mr. Shah has faced backlash for misogynistic comments. In 2013, he resigned from a Madhya Pradesh cabinet over sexist remarks against a woman BJP leader. The political fallout has been swift. Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge called the speech shameful and communal, while BJP's old veteran Uma Bharti demanded Mr. Shah's dismissal, stating he had brought shame to the nation. In response, Mr. Shah issued multiple public apologies, saying his words were misunderstood, and he added a condition that if my words have hurt society, I apologize 10 times. Despite direct challenges from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, it seems like President of Russia Vladimir Putin is not paying much heed. As representatives from Ukraine and Russia are scheduled to hold direct talks in Istanbul on Thursday, the first such meeting since early 2022, which is when the full-scale invasion of Ukraine was launched by Russia. It is being reported that neither Russian President Vladimir Putin nor US President Donald Trump will be attending, according to officials as reported by Reuters. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had called on President Putin to face him directly at the negotiation table, suggesting that meaningful talks could only occur if the Russian leader participated in person. Mr. Zelensky has told reporters earlier this week that this is where the talks should be, with him directly, him being Mr. Putin. However, the Kremlin announced that Vladimir Mindensky, a senior aide and former culture minister, would lead the Russian delegation instead. Notably, Zelensky had said if Putin did not appear for the talks himself and sent someone else, it would be the final dot in the peace talks over ceasefire. The talks follow Putin's proposal for negotiations in Istanbul without any preconditions, but his absence, along with that of President Trump, has tempered expectations for a significant breakthrough. The Kremlin includes Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Galuzhin, Deputy Defense Minister Alexander Fomin, and GRU Intelligence Chief Igor Kostyukov. Putin and Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov are not on the list. The last direct negotiations between the two sides took place in March 2022, also in Istanbul, shortly after Russian forces entered Ukraine. The ongoing war has since claimed tens of thousands of lives and left Russia occupying roughly 20% of Ukrainian territory in what remains Europe's largest conflict since World War II. And according to AFP, the Ukrainian side has made it clear that any agreement must respect Ukraine's territorial integrity, though Zelensky has acknowledged that diplomacy may ultimately be part to restoring lost areas. Speaking ahead of Thursday's talk, President Zelensky said Ukraine was ready for any format of negotiations, but added, "I'm waiting to see who will arrive from Russia, then I will decide what steps Ukraine should take," and now we finally have that information. Russia has, however, insisted that talks address what it describes root causes of the war, including demilitarization of Ukraine, terms Kyiv has repeatedly rejected. Meanwhile, European leaders have warned that if discussions in Turkey fail to produce meaningful progress, new sanctions against Moscow could be introduced swiftly. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, along with senior American envoys, is also present in Istanbul for consultations. Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha confirmed he met with Rubio to coordinate strategy and reiterate Ukraine's ceasefire proposal. That's all for today. You were listening to the news with NDTV, your daily newspaper and TV bulletin wrapped in a compact podcast. If you want to catch up with the day's events in a hurry, do remember to subscribe to the News with NDTV on Apple, Spotify, and the NDTV News app. This is your host Anviti, signing off.